Finally.
There we go. But anyways, I'm gonna try to make this. I guess not as. It's gonna be a little bit shorter than these typically go because I'm
Hmm.
on run today. But
No problem.
what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm nice to meet you finally after a long following on Instagram. Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
it's
once again, please.
huh?
Come again, please. The microphone was bugging.
Oh, um, well, it's nice to meet you, and I ask you how you doing. How are you
Oh,
doing?
I'm very good. It's very hot outside currently in the Czech Republic, but yeah, we're doing fine. We have a concert tomorrow actually with Black Rose, so yeah, we're preparing for that, and yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling in my crib right now. So yeah.
Nice, nice. But it's nice to finally associate a face with the band because, to be honest, to the end of this, and I'm like, I love how I planned this, and like, I don't think I even know anybody's name in the group. I just know of the group.
Oh yeah, I'm Adam. You can call me Adam. My stage name is Hamachi, but I'm better. It's better if you call me Adam. I'm more used to it.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Well, it's nice to finally formally meet you. At
Nice to meet
you're,
you too.
but
Oh yeah.
I guess more or less, I'm just gonna give you the floor because I've talked about so many bands and so many artists, especially with in the last couple of years, and
Hmm.
we just recently started to venture off and I guess cover more groups outside of the U.S. and honestly, um, I want to say you're one of the only groups from the Czech Republic that we've covered.
That's there's not a lot to cover here in the Czech Republic, to be honest, aside from a few companions or peers that we have, but. Yeah, we're a new metal band from Brno, Czech Republic, which is the second biggest city here. It's the heart of Europe, Central Europe, and yeah, new metal doesn't really, to be honest, to be completely honest with you, new metal doesn't really have a following here, or it does, but not that so of like new metal, if you know what I mean, like the new wave. Everyone knows Linkin Park, everyone knows Deftones, everyone knows Papa Roach, and these are our inspirations. But yeah, people aren't really that hip to new stuff.
That's the funny thing I find kind of ironic because for here in the states over here in America, that we have a wide range of a crop of artists coming in to this new metal resurgence or revamped new metal scene, but almost exclusively it is on the West Coast is where a lot of them are coming from. There's no, and more exclusively. It's predominantly in LA, which I'm in Indiana. I'm in the Midwest. So I
Yeah.
don't even know what it seems like personally.
Yeah, well, new metal. I think it originated with Korn's first album in what's it called, Bakersfield, something like that.
Bakersfield. I think they're from Bakersfield.
It's somewhere in California. I think it's I've been to the United States only when I was 2 years old. I was with my mom and dad, so I haven't been in the States since. But I'm planning on eventually taking a trip there to see my part of my dad's side of the family. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's still like 2 years from now. But yeah, it originated. I think it originated in California, so it makes sense why so many people or musicians on the West Coast are making new metal, and not so much on the East Coast or in the Midwest or what you want to call it.
Yeah. Um, no, it's just really interesting because the funny thing is ironically enough, is, I'm old enough to, appreciate the music before the groups coming up from now.
Hmm.
But the funny thing is that my parents, grew up listening to Korn and, Papa Roach and, those bands. I mean, they're more familiar with them than I
Cool.
am.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was born in 2000, so I mean, I didn't come out far from when they were like in their like heyday. But
We're the same age actually.
are we really?
Yeah, I'm 2000. I'm a 2000 baby as well.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. But I've noticed, I mean, I guess I've noticed people our age, and I mean a little older, appreciate that, niche, you know, genre of heavy metal a lot more. And I mean, even in some cases, more than people that I guess, came up and, were coming of age during that time period of music. It's just, I don't know, they just seem really appreciative of just, that whole, I guess, period in time, I'll call it. Because I mean, it was like its own little movement back then.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I see you have a POD shirt actually on.
Oh, yeah, I seen
Cool.
them last year. Oh,
Oh,
that.
I've seen them like last week with my dad and my brother. They were actually at Brno, so they played a show. Wonderful.
Yeah, I actually I met their sound guy that did their tour because they did a tour with Seether last year. That's where I got my tattoo too from Enzo and
Okay.
maybe Dave. That was an experience in of itself. But
Cool.
I was talking to Pat, and he was originally the drummer and like stage guy for Mike's Dead, but since he went on his hiatus or whatever he's doing, he's not making music right now. He ended up getting a gig working for POD, and I talked to him for a good 45 minutes or some shit last year. It was really cool.
Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, that's nice. Yeah, I think the whole team of POD or like POD, like the band itself, they're very good people. We were we were at the show. It was like smoking hot, no AC on, and like Sonny Sandoval actually had like a fan on stage, and he pointed right at us. Like he saw that we were like dripping in sweat, and he pointed at the fan at us, and it was great. Very, very, very. I actually saw POD last year in Prague, which is like the capital city of here in the Czech Republic. So I've seen them twice. Yeah, but yeah, I grew up on POD. My dad's, he's a Christian, so he had a lot of Christian, dad rock, basically, or rock
Right.
music, and metal. We grew up on. My brother and I grew up on, POD, Under Oath, Switchfoot, Pillar. If you know Pillar, that's another niche new metal band. They have
I don't think I
their
do.
biggest song is like Frontline or something like that. I love those. I love those acts. Very good.
But yeah, basically, I mean, where I'm going to go with this is I'm not familiar, you know, with the Czech Republic. So I mean, you did say there is in your dad's side of the family, if I heard you correctly, is from the States. You said.
Yeah.
So I was going to say I wasn't picking up. I'm picking up bits and pieces because I've noticed you don't really have an accent per se until you, I guess, pronounce certain words.
Yeah.
But so I'm under the assumption that new metal is very niche where you're at.
Yeah, you can say that new metal is pretty niche. There's a lot of people here that around my age or even older that grew up on Hybrid Theory or Meteora or and stuff. But yeah, it's not. Everybody knows like in the end, everybody knows Crawling. That's like we everyone here loves Transformers and what I've done, New Divide and stuff like that. But when it comes to like for like niche bands, it's not that big of a following as it should have. Like it doesn't get the flowers it deserves here in the Czech Republic. That's my opinion. Somebody can tell you someone can tell you something else, but that's like my point of view.
Right. So I would say I'd go out on a limb and say that's why you're in your band. Then I would say just to bring something different to the Czech Republic.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, exactly. Yeah, that that's basically like I we make we make English stuff because obviously I'm a native speaker, so yeah, we want to like venture out and be world famous, not only in Czech Republic because to be completely honest, we won't make a living out of it in the Czech Republic, so that's why the English lyrics and stuff.
So English isn't the native tongue of the Czech Republic. I'm assuming.
No, it's
Czech. All
Czech
right.
language. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I really didn't pay attention in school. If it didn't involve music or something else, I was clocked out.
Okay. Me neither. Don't worry. But I I like geography, so
But
yeah.
so I will say I approached this, I guess, very naive, just because I have so much trouble. I come from that age of people where like they're tech savvy and they know what they're doing. Like every time I do one of these, though, knock on wood, this one's going great so far, and I know for a fact it's recording, so I can actually post it on the internet. The last like four or five, though, it's been like nothing, and I'm like, oh, dude. But anyways, um, I guess I'll just give you the floor for a little bit and let you talk about the group because I mean, I was skimming the rest of your guys' discography, and I mean, you've been releasing music. I mean, uh, post COVID,
Hmm.
and that's right around the time a lot of these other new metal acts and talents came onto my radar, but I never knew there was a scene or like even like a little wave of movement outside of the US, just because I never branched off. You guys were one of the first bands that I've covered, and now I've covered some like rappers and stuff in Australia and some groups in the UK, and I mean South America. There's a bunch of like really like heavy, super heavy groups out of there, but you guys are one of the groups that's like you got that niche sound that my audience likes, and honestly I can't remember what the hell the first, you might have sent me an EP to listen to. I think that was the first video I made, and I listened to it
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, like there actually is shit going on outside of the US, like that's crazy.
Cool.
It's
Cool.
so good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're a new metal band from Czech Republic. Brno. The band itself was established in 2018. That's where it all started. But I only
Damn.
joined in
I
2022. Come again?
I was like, damn, in 2018, I was in high school. You joined in 2022?
Yeah, the dudes basically, the rest of like most core members from the original Black Row. It started off actually like they played Guns N' Roses and shit. So yeah, but
Yeah.
they released like two or three songs in 2020, 2021. They're not on streaming services right now, but feel you can like listen to it and you can sense there's like some Guns N' Roses, Metallica influences going on there. And yeah, we basically, I've known these guys since 2017, so I was always like hip to what they're doing and stuff. But in 2021, that was around New Year's Eve from 2021 to 2022, actually, we just like sat down and told each other, why don't we make new metal? Why don't we make like, fresh stuff? And because I actually have like a solo career as well under the name Hamachi. It's more so like, hip hop and, trap and stuff. I've been releasing music since I was damn near 16. So yeah,
Yeah.
but most of it's shit to be honest. But yeah, it's like progress. That's called evolution basically. But what I wanted to say. 2022, we started working on, the stuff you can see on Spotify, on the streaming platforms. We released our first single, Flat Out. A couple EPs. There's like Nothing Is Real Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. That was our, like, 2023 was basically like a whole Nothing Is Real cold album. That's where it basically like started and where we picked it up. Yeah, definitely.
So originally, you, I feel like an ass asking, but I don't know. So what is your role in Black Row?
Frontman.
That's what I
Yeah.
figured, but I didn't want to assume and make an ass of myself.
No problem.
Um, so basically, what I'm hearing is you're not the original frontman. Is the person who sung before you currently still a member, or they kind of just hashed out that sound that they were doing and they started fresh with you?
He actually, there were the first original frontman. He was there for the first two songs with the Metallica influence, Nothing Else Matters sounding type stuff, or whatever you want to call it.
A little.
He left. He left the band after that. The guy that's, the second singer, his name is Kaya. So he basically joined, from all the way from Ostrava, which is the third biggest city. So yeah, it's kind of like a, the whole Czech Republic's in on it. But yeah,
Oh,
basically, he joined. He moved here in Brno to release, like, another two songs, with more like a Guns N' Roses influence, which I was talking about. And yeah, he's still in the band. He still has a major part in it. The EP that I sent you, the Surströmming EP with the fish, with the can of fish on the album cover, he wasn't in it because
yeah.
he had some trouble with his voice. So he ended up, having a like a 1 year hiatus, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, after that he rejoined the band, and yeah, we started making stuff again with him. And yeah, so there's the core members, which are Peter. He's lead guitar. We got Max, who's on bass. That's still the core member. I think he was the first one to ever think of the name Black Row. We've had a lot of drummers. Now we have, I don't know, it's like the fifth drummer of Black Row. But now this lineup is, we're going strong, having good relationships within the band. So we feel that, this is the way forward. And yeah, so what you see on in the internet isn't like the core Black Row that, but yeah, we had a lot of lineup changes.
Well, that checks out because I mean, even here, I've interacted with tons of bands, and it seems uh, like the quintessential member that a lot of bands can't keep as a drummer. I know there's a couple groups out of Ohio, which is literally just one state over from me. They got these like garage band, like DIY projects, and they're like, it's so hard to keep a drummer. They're like, some of the live shows we've done, we've ended up just using a drum machine because either this band took our drummer or he quit or blah blah blah. And I'm like, that is crazy. But I think the last time I had talked to them, they'd been through like three or four drummers themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, you either have, you got two types of drummers. Like, one type of drummer doesn't drum anywhere, he doesn't want to drum. Or you got the second drummer who has five different bands. And if you want to, like, focus on, making a living out of music, or, actually like trying to make a living out of music, you need like one drummer who has his focus on one particular band. It's hard when people have more bands. Somebody can do it, but yeah.
I don't see how somebody could juggle five bands. If one seems like hard enough job to me. But I mean,
Tell me
I
about it.
good on them if they.
Yeah.
But I mean, with with bands that people listen to since even from way back in the day, it's almost like they got to be faithful to that one group, because without that one group, if they're going here, there, and whatever, it's like eventually one of them groups is going to catch on, and they might catch on without that said member, or they're going to
Exactly.
have a hell of a time catching on because they can't keep that one role filled.
Completely true. Completely true.
But anyways, so we talked about the EP, which that was my introduction to you guys, which it came out in May. I'm sure you guys didn't probably pop up till probably like last summer. I'm going to assume, I don't know. I know I took a hiatus from this myself sometime last year, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to get back to the swing of things. But you've released 2 singles this year with Jackass and Kitchen Fly. Do you care to talk about those?
Yeah. Well, Jackass is more like a rough, punkish garage, not a demo, but it was like more so just to focus on, since we love the show, or the Jackass movies and stuff, we wanted to make something that captures that 2000 era of Jackass, basically the sound of it. So yeah, we made that. It's more like a hip hoppy, rappy vibe. And Kitchen Fly is more like melancholic. We actually have a feature on it from Diego Zeta. He's like a friend of ours. He's actually from Spain, Madrid, and yeah, a very good friend of ours, very talented. And me personally, I prefer the Kitchen Fly sound because it's like I like emotional stuff.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, and yeah, Jackass is basically like a what you want to call it. Yeah, it's a hip hoppy track. It's like basically it doesn't have any like sort of depth to it, like deep meaning behind it. It's like a party song basically. But Kitchen Fly is
You
like
guys did it essentially.
okay. Once again, please.
I said you guys. So essentially, um, it's not so much that it's I guess lacking emotion, because I mean I felt like it was like just like boom, like knock you on your ass type shit. But essentially, it's either like a party tune, or you guys just made it to be like, oh, let's just see what we can come up with, and just
Exactly.
to do it.
Yeah, when we make demos, me and Peter, who's he's the guitar player. We always like sit down and we you know put a couple songs on. See what we're feeling currently. If we're both sad, we're gonna make some sad stuff. If we're both happy, we're gonna make like some turn up shit. It's all it depends on the moment. And yeah, but yeah, we like to be versatile. Like when you stick to one certain sound, some people or some musicians or bands pull it off, but I like to be versatile, mainly because the bands that I listen to are versatile. For instance, Static Dress, or Under Oath, Thornhill, and even POD. They don't stick to like one certain sound. They have tear jerkers, and they have party songs, turn up songs. So yeah, that's the main focus here, just to like not be limited, but creativity is basically limitless. So yeah, we basically don't have any like boundaries set when it comes to that.
So essentially, you guys are. I mean, I follow a couple other outlets that really showcase a lot of new talent, and I know the front man from Eurotrip with his channel Exposure World. He really likes to poke and prod at like especially the festivals in the states, how they got these like nostalgia acts where it's like, oh, it's the same headliner damn near every year, And the reason why I think a lot of people do that is because they can sell that name, and they know they can, rather than, just some Joe Blow off the street. And I mean, essentially, when you said you're versatile, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I feel like with a lot of new bands, a lot of bands are extremely versatile in sound and delivery, and just overall expressing their emotion. Lyrically, sound wise, across the board. And then you got bands that, have been riding on the same sound, style, and delivery for 30 years or more. And there's not much versatility after a certain point with a lot of these older groups. And I feel like that's one thing that makes bands like yours stick out, because you're constantly changing, ever evolving, and there's no stop.
Exactly, exactly. That that's as I said, creativity is limitless, and if your creativity is limited, you're not a musician. That's my honest opinion. Yeah, well, and when we talk about, like, the big names, System of a Down, Deftones. I love Deftones, by the way, my favorite band with POD. You know, when we talk about, like, the festivals and stuff, of course, people from, that listen to new metal are gonna book, big names, like new metal names, like, as I said, Korn, Papa Roach, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, because people are familiar with that. You know,
Right.
Nowadays people love to nostalgia trip. That's what they do. Like, I love it as well. Don't get me wrong, but I wish that people would give new bands a listen, more like chances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And another thing too, which I talk about damn near every time I do an interview, it almost seems if you're not a social media influencer, they almost cut you out of, the they cut you out of the spotlight entirely, because you're not, a TikTok influencer. You don't make, just, I mean, essentially, I think it's just goofy internet videos. And I mean, some bands have capitalized off that formula very well, but I also believe it sacrifices a lot of the originality, and, I guess, the overall uh, how genuine the art actually is. I mean, they're essentially selling out their art to be famous in a way.
Exactly. It's it's a normal thing nowadays. I honestly, I hate this new era of, TikTok reels and YouTube shorts, regurgitated bullshit. Everyone's making, 15-second songs, literally. And yeah, everyone's like, let's make this chorus the most catchy it can be. Yeah, it's sad in a way. Of course, we're still an up and coming band. We still need to make, content online.
Of course, of course,
And, we made some, content online, but I honestly hate doing it. I'm a musician. I'm not an influencer. If I wanted to be an influencer, I would start, Twitch streaming or stuff, or kick streaming, whatever it is. But yeah, it's main focus is on music, and we're gonna, not spam, but we want to make music, and make videos, reels of it. It's not like, it's basically what it is nowadays, unfortunately. And you had, but gone are the days when bands handed in their demo tapes or demo cassettes to labels, and the labels took care of everything, touring, and CD sales, and stuff. Nowadays, you are your own manager in a way.
does that make the does that make for you guys, especially with you guys being up and coming, and still a smaller group, does that make the business aspect harder for you guys? Because I'm assuming somebody in the band or you guys collectively as a group, represent one another, to, uh, get those things across. And I mean, especially with you guys being in the Czech Republic, I think it would be harder being in a niche, genre of heavy metal to, book gigs, and what have you.
Yeah, I mainly do the networking stuff. Uh, I venture out to a lot of bands on like Instagram or via email.
Hmm.
For instance, I ventured out to a dude called New Metal Mayhem on Instagram. Shout out to that dude, very cool guy. And he actually linked me up with you know him, Medikine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and we
yeah, he's pretty cool too.
yeah we've been talking. I've been talking to Medikine for a while now. We actually have a song coming, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's still in like the demo stages, but I'm gonna lay it down some vocals with our other singer Kaya, like during next week. I hope so. Yeah, that's gonna be coming, and that's gonna be releasing soon. I think it's gonna be now we're gonna release something in 3 weeks. It's more on that jackass side of vibe. It's more like party turn up. But yeah, the track with Medikine again, it's more like melancholic. I love that shit. As I said, I love it, and I believe it's gonna be a good song. People are gonna like it, and yeah, so that's what it is. But back to what I was saying. Networking. Is very important. I do a lot of research on Instagram. I talk to a lot of bands. Some of them don't reply, of course. They're busy with like touring and stuff, or they're basically like just too big to answer. But
It never.
huh?
I said it never hurts to try, though. I mean, good on you for trying, because I mean, you guys essentially, when it pertains to new metal groups, I mean, you guys, you come from a part of the world where I don't know how in depth the new metal scene, at its peak, had an influence on the Czech Republic, but it shows that you have a very an eclectic taste in your musical preference of the bands you listen to and stuff. And I mean, you guys really deliver the nostalgia that it has, but you're also pulling a more modern twist to it, essentially, which I look for a lot when I talk about bands that are newer new metal bands, because I don't want to hear something that you could have heard on the radio 30 years ago. I want to hear something you could hear on the radio now, if they would actually give those bands the time of day and put them on the radio.
Exactly. Like you said, it's you still got to have a modern twist to it. Still got to be somehow like in like not trendy, but you
Right.
still got to be tapped in with like how metal sounds nowadays. And it's up to you like how you make the music afterwards. But there's a lot of like stuff that if you want to be successful nowadays, you need to take care of when it comes to sound. And that's what we're trying to do. We're still trying to have somewhat of nostalgia going on in our music, but at the same time, it still needs to sound modern, basically. Which you talked about maybe not safe, and I think they do it perfectly. Enzo
Oh
is
yeah.
very talented. I actually talked to him. I don't think he even knows me, but I've talked to him on Instagram. When they released "Beg," what a wonderful track, wonderful. And I've talked to him. It's like a banger and stuff. We exchanged like messages, and after that, I actually sent him our stuff. I think he probably just like read it or stuff, but yeah, you can't really blame him. He's a busy dude. So yeah, but as you said, it doesn't hurt trying. You miss 100 shots you don't take, basically. So yeah.
But yeah, with maybe not safe, um, no, I mean, me personally, I would put uh, you guys in that realm of that, modern new metal. Landon Renwick, which I think when I first started following him, he was doing guitar videos, and then once I realized he had a couple singles out himself, I was like, holy shit! Like when I first discovered Nathan James when he first came out, I was like, okay, because I was still like, kind of timid with new metal. I mean, besides like Korn and System and Linkin Park, like my knowledge was like damn near nothing. And then these new guys came out, and then I started listening to like Static X, and just it just kind of snowballed. But now I notice I listen to the newer guys more than I do the ones that have been out for years. Just I don't. That might be my age showing more towards the new stuff, but I mean, some of it, in a way, some of the new stuff is better in a sense, I guess, because I guess more, it's a more relatable context to me. But I mean, there's a lot of new bands that I think really could have had a heavy hit to that whole scene when it was really at its peak, 20 some odd years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's just showing.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Like you said, Landon Renwick. That's his name.
Yes.
Yeah,
Landon Renwick, I believe.
I listened to a few of his songs. He's very talented as well. There's another artist called Hell Hills. If you're familiar with that, he's from like Lithuania, and he makes stuff like Deftones esque songs mixed with crosses. That's wonderful as well. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people are missing out on because they want a nostalgia trip instead of trying to find new talent, new music. I think that art, the new metal scene, the up and coming new metal scene, is packed with talent, and I hope that people realize one day that it's they should give it a chance. Definitely.
And and my thing too is with the elements, the instrumental elements, and the style and delivery. I've noticed with the new metal scene, especially in LA, there's new metal bands that are, opening up for like alternative pop groups just because style and aesthetic wise, they blend together so well. But I know I've seen videos, shit, this was probably 6 months ago or more. And Enzo and maybe not safe. They were doing like a little like it was like, I mean, you could call it a festival, but it was basically a showcase where they had like 10 different groups and artists playing. Maybe Not Safe wasn't even the headliner, and in my opinion, they played the headliner off the fucking stage. And they were like three bands before the main guy. Like their energy is just like untapped and unmatched in a way. And this is just my assumption off internet videos I've seen because that's all I've seen, particularly from him and his group. And I mean, it looked insane. Another group too that's doing really well. They actually just made their way to Europe and did some shows, and that was Private School. They're based out of LA too, and their live shows look insane, insane.
Yeah, they were at
Like
Rock for People,
it's
which is
all about the energy. And
yeah. Well, they were actually at Rock for People, which is like the biggest Czech metal festival or rock festival, and they played a show there, and they were wonderful. Yeah, I actually messaged them as well after the show that they're if they want to like have a collab or show or something like that, and they checked our stuff out. They said you're great, and yeah, maybe in the future we can like do a show or something like that when they come again to Europe. So yeah, that's we actually, we're if you're familiar with the magazine called What's New.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I believe so.
We're
Yeah.
basically like we're mentioned on the same issue as private school, so that's kind of a little flex. It's not, it's not that like big, but yeah, it's nice to see our name, uh, in the same brackets, or and
On print or
on the
in.
same magazine issue as private school. Basically, what I was trying to say.
Well, I mean that's a flex in my book because, like I said, I've named off countless, and I'm really not trying to name drop a bunch of people because I mean essentially we are here to talk about your group, but I mean it's almost like they all just blend together so cohesively, and I mean you made a splash where you're at with what you got going on, and I think once you network and everything, and from what I've been hearing, you're having some success there with I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. I done told him last time I DM'd him. I can't say it right. He's in the new artwork that I had commissioned, but I can't say his name at all because I say it wrong every time. But I'm really stoked for that song you guys got in the works. He's got one too. Because I made a video. I'm gonna pull it up on the computer real quick while I'm
Hmm.
talking to you. Because I gotta close this out soon because I gotta head to work. But I figure I'll give you the closing statement and everything. But Medikeen's got a song. I think I said it right. It's called
I think
"Familiar
you did.
Faces." It was, but it was one of those ones. It was, album that he put out, and I was like, dude, like it's not the heaviest track, but like that's what really made it impactful for me as a listener because it was like he's got this whole album, and like this is the song that sticks out. Like it's not the loudest, it's not the heaviest, but it is, and I was like, that's good shit right
Definitely, definitely. I love his album, and the baggy pants music. I think it's baggy pants music or whatever it is. But yeah, that the album is great. It reminds me a lot of like Incubus in a way.
now this may just be me, but I cannot name one Incubus song to save my life at all. Like I can't. They're just one group that like I know of them, but I know nothing.
Definitely get into him.
But anyways, that's
Sorry, the internet
but
connection is a little bit off,
I
so
know
yeah,
of
it's delayed a little bit.
them. But anyways, yeah, it's been fun. I just did have a little bit of a technical difficulty, but it saved the footage and then it paused and then it'll start back up. But I'll skim it and I'll clip it. That way, I'm not posting really lengthy clips. So, anyways, it's re-recording again. It only stopped for like 30 seconds. But anyways, we've been talking to Adam Black Row, and it's been really fun. We've been talking about his influences, his band specifically, and a bunch of other heavy hitters in the scene and in the resurgence of new metal as a whole. But anyways, brother, I'm gonna let you have the floor. You can close it out, and then you'll be hearing from me in a couple of days, and it'll give me time to skim and of course clip specific parts of the interview. But anyways, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks. What I can say. Thank you for the interview. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you about stuff, and yeah, if somebody gets hooked on on Black Robe because of this interview, I'm going to be very glad. We got a lot of stuff coming. We got a lot of new stuff coming. We're gonna drop a merch store eventually. So if somebody wants merch, we can take care of that as well. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff in the vault. We got countless demos. I don't even know how much demos they are in the vault, but we got a lot of stuff coming. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And once again, thank you very
Well,
much for this interview. I had a wonderful time.
absolutely, it was my pleasure, and I'm glad that we could make this happen, because I know we've been talking about it now for a few weeks. But as I said, I talked about a lot of new talent, and you guys are one of the front runners. I know you guys are one of the smaller groups in the new metal lineup, but I mean, you guys got a sound and an aesthetic and the way you deliver it. And I know you said Jackass is a party tune, but those songs are really marketable in a way. But even though you guys just did it for shits and giggles, that serious stuff, hits just as hard, if not harder, in a way. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have come up with next. And I mean, it's been a real pleasure. I mean, we've probably been interacting online for months now, and I'm glad we finally were able to sit and have a conversation. But anyways, before I leave, I gotta ask though, where can I find your solo material? Because you say a lot of it's bad. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I gotta give it a listen.
Okay, cool. You can listen to it. Basically, I can spell it out for you. It's HAMMACCI. It's Hamachi, basically. It's my handle name, or whatever you want to call it, my Instagram name. And most of it's kind of not cringe, but I grew out of it. But there's some few songs that I'm fond of on there. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on my YouTube channel as well, my solo YouTube channel. And yeah, I have it up on my streaming platforms as well. So yeah, that's no problem. Searching for it. And yeah, I'm actually gonna start releasing some solo stuff again. I got a lot of beats cooking. I got a lot of materials as well. So I'm actually going to the studio for that. So we'll see.
All right, but I appreciate it, and yeah, as I said, you'll be hearing from me soon. It's been a pleasure, and uh, anyways, I got to go off to work, but keep killing it, man, and just keep doing all the badass stuff you're doing, because you're doing great.
Thank you very much. Have a good day at work.
Yep.
Okay. Bye bye.
Oh, I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.